I'll just keep recording. All right. So the idea with this is that looking at your future, you may have some kind of general idea of where you want to end up, a job you may want to have, a position, a whatever. But realistically, all you can do is take steps to move yourself towards it. You don't know if you will actually end up there, okay? So your job may be something way over here that eventually connects you back to your original goal, or you may find something totally different. But all the stuff that we do now is stuff that helps us prepare for whatever it is that's there. So you have the ability to choose what those items are here to help you prepare for it. So if you play constant video games and you're constantly going to parties and you're constantly sleeping 18 hours a day and you're constantly not eating healthy and you're constantly playing with or hanging out with people who are bad for you, all those decisions, all those dots will lead you to someplace, hopefully not where you wanted to end up, because that seems like a weird, you don't want to end up there, hopefully. All right, cool. So you can reflect on that if you want. Classroom policies. We'll get to the actual class stuff. I just want to go through the other tidbits. Attendance. If the college is open, you will be here. Okay? We will have class. If the college is closed, obviously we will not have class. If I'm not here when the class starts, no big deal. You are adults. You come to class. You still work on stuff. Or you draw, or you do whatever, okay? Your 3 hours twice a week that you've paid for to be here, spend it here. Showing up on time and start working, do not leave early. I keep attendance. It's deducted from your final grade for tardies and absences. Arrivals greater than 5 minutes past the start time equals point removal. My first hour, really appreciate all the math that I threw into the first day handout. A physical body in class does not equal attendance. So if you sleep during class, if you are texting, if you're talking about the latest Star Wars movie or whatever, if you spoil anything for me, I will just fail you right away, okay? Just do your work. That's why you're here, okay? Anything that you're going to learn in this class, you can go on YouTube or on a number of other sites, and you can learn any of it, really. But the point of being in here is that you're in the environment, and you're in an area where it's streamlined as to here's stuff that you should know, as opposed to here's a million different things, now figure out what you're supposed to do. So while you're in this class, spend that time learning and working towards that end goal of trying to understand what motion graphics is and what we can do with it. Not physically or mentally present, find out what you missed. I have been plenty of things where there's a boring guy up in front talking, and I don't know, somehow I get sidetracked and I forget what they just said or I wasn't paying attention to it. Don't be afraid to ask. What did you just say? Don't wait until the end of the lecture when you're ready to go to work and then raise your hand and say, what am I supposed to be doing because I didn't hear a word you said, okay? Figure this stuff out so we can move along. You can make absences by sitting in another class. Fortunately for you guys, and unfortunately I guess, this class is packed as we can see. My other classes before this and after this, except for my 8 o'clock class, is pretty open. So if you need to make up an absence because you've missed it, you can sit in another class and work on this stuff. That way you can get perfect attendance, and if you see right below here, perfect attendance equals 3 points to your final grade, that's an awesome thing to get, okay? 3 tardies, 1 absence, 12 tardies, 4 absences, absences greater than 4 equals F grade. That's standard MACA stuff. Assignments equal on time with 75% completed, okay? So if the assignment is to, what classes? After Effects. The assignment is to animate an angry bird, and you turn in a circle you drew in Illustrator, that's nowhere near 75% completed on the assignment, okay? So when you turn in an assignment, it has to be at least 75% completed to be accepted as turned in. Now the cool thing about turning it in, besides your popularity, is that you can make things up. So if you turn something in on time, 75% complete, and you've missed 3 or 4 things, you can fix up those 3 or 4 things and then resubmit it. If you turn it in late, you do not get the option to resubmit something to make up the points. Make sense? Okay. If your assignment is on time, you will be deducted 1 point per day. Okay. And the whole point of this is getting you ready for work. At work, at a job, if something's late, you lose the clients, you lose money, you lose your livelihood. So we want to get you into the right mindset so that when you do leave here and you are working at a place, you're ready for that kind of stuff. Lectures may attempt to be recorded. Sometimes it doesn't work. So I'm recording what we're doing today in case you decide you want to reflect back on what I said. You totally can. Pay attention during lectures, take notes, ask questions, do not work, be involved. I require logging into Canvas to check your grade and to check lectures and get any source material. Has anyone here never used Canvas before? Perfect. You are here to learn to be a productive member of society. Your behavior in class and communications should reflect that. So I'm pretty laid back as a teacher. I want this class to be fun. I want to joke around a lot. But keep in mind, this is still a professional place where you're learning to be a professional. So if you email me, title, who are you emailing to, Sean, with the correct spelling of my name, and then the body of the letter, and then sincerely, blah, 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 okay? Use punctuation, use capitals, use whatever. The more professional you are there, the easier it is to be professional in the outside world, and the easier it is to get noticed, because otherwise they're not going to notice you if you just put crazy stuff in your emails. If you wouldn't/shouldn't do it at work, don't do it here, because people would do stuff at work, but they shouldn't. Health and cleanliness. Don't leave a mess. I'll mail any garbage you leave to your house with a letter explaining why we don't do that. So make sure you do not leave garbage here. Somebody had sunflower seeds last year at one of the desks. Yeah, everyone remembers that. You'll notice, too, that the hallway, there's no table out there because there was an ant problem over break, because people would buy food, they would leave it in the hallway, and then ants would come there. So don't do that. No, we do not want ants. People are sick animals who don't wash their hands after sneezing, eating, going to the bathroom, or any number of other things. It's best to bring some disinfecting wipes and clean the area, mouse, keyboards, and desk. I am providing 2 of these. There's only 60 in here. That would last basically like 1 day in this classroom, okay? So these are emergency ones. If you forget something, I would recommend picking these up. These are $1. So if you come to class and you have 5 classes, that's, plenty of money. And then hand sanitizer too, again, Dollar Tree stuff. I'm sure it's just as good as the regular stuff, I'm assuming. Don't spread germs. If you come to class, disinfect before and after, and don't touch me. This is good. I had prepared a laugh track in case you guys didn't laugh at some of the jokes, but now I don't have to worry about that. There is a student handbook. Whether you read it or not, you agreed to abide by it. Be respectful to the classroom, equipment, furniture, and students. As we discussed, these chairs are brand new, so be gentle with the chairs. Those chairs that we had in here are at least 15 years old, at least. These desks are probably at least 20 years old, okay? So, yeah, take care of them. Don't lift the gray thing. You'll never come here again. The classroom is designed to be a learning environment. Treat it as such. Keep the racket down and stay off my lawn. Remember professionalism. You are responsible for your friends. There is no eating in class. You can drink in a sealed container. So like this container is a sealed container. Just a word of caution, if it does tip over, typically this one does pop open, but I'm super careful. This is a super sealed one which doesn't pop open. There is no eating in class. There's no eating in class. There's no eating in class. There's no eating in class. And there is no eating in class. Right? We don't want ants. S lobby, there is a food area way at the top past the bathrooms. Totally eat there if you need to. Work it into your schedule. If the work does not equal yours, then that equals plagiarism. Okay, so if you turn in something that is somebody else did it, I did it, you found it on someone's computer and turned it in, that's plagiarism. You get nowhere by turning in somebody else's work. It helps you out zero. Do the work, because you're only going to get better if you do the work. A few years ago, I had a student who turned in an assignment. 2 semesters ago, I had a teacher turn in an assignment that was suspicious because it looked too good based on what that student has already turned in. So she showed it to me, and sure enough, that work was what my student turned in, and it's exact, like word for word. So he could have got kicked out of the class, he could have got kicked out of the program, he could have got kicked out of the college for cheating. It's a stupid thing, don't do it. Okay? Students should strive to know the basics of each tool and process. If you're unsure of them, find ways to better understand it. Whatever. Yeah, it's the same thing. In my head, I say it differently than how I write, apparently. YouTube is a great resource. I'll show another one called Pluralsight. But there's a million different ways for you to understand the concepts that we're going to go over. So if what I say doesn't help, Definitely try to go onto YouTube and see if there's something else out there that somebody explains it a different way. You could ask me, I can explain it a different way. Your neighbor maybe explains it a different way. There's a trillion different things that you could do to help you better understand any of the stuff that we're going to do, okay? So there's not really an excuse that say, I don't understand it. Just put in the time and you'll be able to figure it out. Assignments are not accepted without a completed assignment sheet. I put those over here. I organized it. There it is. So this is a new thing for me. Most of you have never had me before. And several of the other classes are doing this too, where you'll have an assignment sheet. So when we get an assignment, you'll go through and write down the specifics of the assignment. What are we trying to learn? What tools are we going to be using? What things do you need submitted? And then when you're ready and the assignment is finished, you'll put your stuff into the correct area and you'll hand me the sheet. And then when I go to grade it, I can look at it and I can give you the points. And then I can give that back to you, and then you can look at Canvas and see if there's any extra notes, okay? So it's going to make your job a lot easier because you'll know what to turn in. It'll make my job a lot easier because I'll have all your stuff. And hopefully you've checked off the right stuff. We'll go through it very step by step at the beginning, and gradually we'll, I won't be like, now click this, now click that, okay? Where was I? Right there, okay. We'll have due dates for assignments, so keep track of those. Assignments are graded in a timely fashion. All points are on Canvas. Your grade's your responsibility. All of your assignment must be turned in order to pass the class. My grading scale is unique to others. So a C in a regular grading scale means what? Average, right? So in order for there to be an average, there has to be A's, B's, C's, D's, and E's. So there has to be a range of them. So everyone in this class, if C does mean average, should not get an A, because then that's not average, right? Because then A would then be average. So the way that I've set up the assignments is I've set up all the assignments at this C level, and then you pushing your skills pushes you further and further up. Okay, so everything is doable to a C level, but the more you want points, the closer, more you want an A, the more you have to do work. That make sense? Okay. All right, so frequently asked questions. Number 1, is my instructor a jerk? Absolutely. I am not your friend. I am friendly, okay? So like I said, I like to keep the class relaxed. I like to keep it calm. I like to keep the class funny. I do have my soundboard, which I'll be adding more sound effects as we go along. But I'm here to make sure that you guys are ready for the real world. So if I say something doesn't look good, it's not a direct attack on you. It's simply saying, this doesn't look good. Other people aren't going to think it looks good. Make it look good so that it turns into a nice piece. What you don't want is if you take the portfolio class and you go out and start looking for a job and they're like, this stuff is crap. You'd like to be told that ahead of time so that you can get it ready so that it isn't crap. So you're actually producing good stuff, okay? He, in this case, is here to ensure you are maximizing your time and learning skills so the hours you're spending away from your house are well worth the time and effort invested. If they seem like they are being extra harsh, it's because they want you to do the best. They have been through all the hassle, struggle, trials, and tribulations you're going to be and have experienced. They care about pushing you to be successful in the class. Many have taught longer than you've been a student, so they've seen almost everything. Some have actually taught longer than you've probably been alive, some of you. Right, so the purpose of being in a school is the environment, is the fact that I'm here and I have that stuff that I can give you to say, here's an assignment, here's the tools we're going to learn, and then we're going to take those tools and go to the next one. Now, if you didn't learn the tools good enough here, you can't go on to the next one yet. You need to learn that stuff so that it trickles down. So make sure you're learning these things as we're going, okay? And it's not meant to be a jerk. It's just I want you guys to be successful. Now it's the interactive part. So I wasn't here last class. Did I miss anything? What do you think the answer is? Yep. Yes. Always going to miss something. You will always miss something regardless of whether you're here or not. Opportunity is like every minute of every day there is some sort of opportunity. So I've met, there's a student who is in web design, and I've met him since he started going here, and I've talked to him every semester about what classes he's going to take and whatever else. I've never seen any of his work. So last semester I just happened to walk by a room, and I always second guess myself. I'm like, should I go in there and say hello? I don't know, whatever. So I did. I went in there and said hello, and he's like, hey, let me show you my stuff. He showed me this beautiful book that he created in the web class, What's it called? It was a dog one. I can't remember what it's called. But it was awesome. Like, every page was, like, extremely interactive, and it was, like, amazing what he created. Had I not gone in there, I wouldn't have seen that, and I wouldn't have known, like, how awesome stuff he's able to create. So you have to be here in order to get those opportunities out there. What is the best way? What is the best way to reach me outside my office hours? What do you think? Email. Email is always best. Don't call my office. I'm not in my office ever, except for to grab a snack or sit down for 2 minutes, or that's it. Okay, I'm very rarely in my office, especially when you're not here. So don't email me or don't call me. Don't show up in my office without me knowing. Just email me. And literally, email me anytime. It's Sunday night, you have a question, email me. I was up this morning at around 4. Can I bring food or beverage into class? Closed beverages only, yes. No food. Can I bring in my own mouse or tablet? Yes, you can bring in your own mouse or tablet. Don't unhook anything from the computer. There's USB on the monitor, and there's USB in the front of your computers. Just don't unhook everything, because then people have a hard time using it afterwards. I'm not feeling well. Can I work from home? I don't have a ride to class today. Is it okay to work from home? I was called into work and can't make it to class. Is that okay? What do we think? No. Okay. At any point, if you feel like I'm not well enough to come to school, don't come to school. That's your decision to not come to school. It's perfectly fine. If you wake up and you're too tired, you don't want to come to school, that's your decision to not come to school. But you do miss stuff. We still move on. You still have to do the work. Just because you're not here, we don't stop, and you don't get extensions on due dates and whatever else. So if you decide I'm not going to be here, it's an absence for whatever reason, and then either make up the absence, make sure you get the work, do whatever you have to make sure you're staying on task. Because just like the rest of the world, we continue moving. We got a whole lot of stuff we got to handle this semester, and we can't wait for anything. Cool. I finished my work. Can I leave early? No. Same thing. There's always something you can do, especially when you get to the portfolio class. I'm not going to ask Morgan because she ruined this last time. Is anyone else taking the portfolio class? Okay, you've taken the portfolio class. In those assignments, how many of them did you go through that you started like tweaking and revising and updating? So many of them, right? So that's what the time is. So if you get done early with an assignment, that's what you should be looking at, is how can I make this better and ready for my portfolio? Even if it's not this stuff. Our mini room, or not mini room. We don't really have any crap assignments in this class. No, everything is awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So if you finish something and it's done, but you still have other stuff, find other things you can work on that'll just make your portfolio stuff better. Because you don't want to get to the portfolio class and spend most of that time reworking assignments, because it's a waste of your time. Not a waste, but you should have had it done already. I came in to turn in my work, but the college was closed. Is it okay to turn my work late? I couldn't get a ride to the college to turn my work. Can I turn in late? I had problems with my assignment. No one could help me. I turned it in late. Not really a question, but what do you think? No? It's late, right? If you turn in your work late at work, you can get fired. You can lose clients. You can lose money. We don't want that. Cool. Now the relevant part to this specific class. So this class is MACA 1900, Introduction to Motion Graphics. There's my name. There's the correct spelling of my name. There is my email address that you can contact me on. For fun, I put my phone number on there. Don't call that phone number. Here is my Skype. In the 4 or 5 years I've been doing this, one person has ever took me up on the Skype thing. They had some questions about their assignment. I was able to Skype into their computer and say, here's what you forgot to click, or here's what you're missing, or here's whatever. And I'm able to walk him through that. It's hard to do that on a Saturday night when you email me and say, I'm having trouble. I have no idea what that means, okay? So if you do email me about something, be specific. I'm having trouble with this, this, and this. I'm clicking this, and that's not happening, or whatever it is. Monday, Wednesday, 11 to 2, that's when we're meeting. Required materials, writing utensil. So always bring something to write on, something to take notes. Also, I want you to get an Everlast sketchbook, or an Everlast rocket book. Have you heard of that? No. Okay. So this is an Everlast rocket book. And what it does, you get a special pen, and you take notes. So you write your notes in there, and then there's little check boxes in the bottom that you can check. Okay. Then with the app, you take a picture of this page, and it'll automatically upload it to a specific drive share that you've set up. I'm going to set up one for this class. So as you're taking notes, and then you upload your picture, it'll go to a shared folder where we'll have all the notes for the class. So it's an amazing thing because it's a collaborative thing too, so that you could actually, if you're in a working at a company, you could say, I don't know if the Macomb County is turning 200 this year, so we're working on the torch design, so there's my torch design. So if I am uploading that to their site, I can check that box, take a picture, and it'll upload it to this shared box that everyone can see. And everyone can submit their pictures. And then it also has, different colors, so you can get different colored pens. Obviously, that's a little bit more. And then you could also erase stuff, so it also erases. And then what's really awesome is that you can get a wet rag and wipe off the entire page. So this is reusable, okay? So I recommend getting it. If you don't want to drop the $30 on it, that's up to you, but I would definitely say it's worth the investment, especially if you have stuff that you don't want to forget. How many times do you take notes and then you stick it somewhere, and then you take notes and stick it somewhere and you can't remember where it is? Now you have one folder online. You can access it anywhere. And the app is pretty awesome where you just hold it there. It recognizes the sheet based on the dots, based on the QR code, and it just zaps it to that folder. It's really cool. So I would recommend getting one of those. A sketchbook, you will need two. You'll need one sketchbook. You'll need a sketchbook also. This is one that I got from Meyer. It's like $4, so it's hardcover, and then the pages are pretty thick. They're not super thick, but they're better than you would expect for $4. We'll be doing sketching in the class. So one of your assignments is going to be to sketch for 15 minutes a day. So every day, I'll go through this more. You'll sketch for 15 minutes in your sketchbook, and then once a week, I'll go through and look at your sketches. I'm not looking for fantastic sketches. I'm not looking for awesome drawing. All I'm looking for is that you're simply doing 15 minutes of sketching every day. That's it. Okay, so some people in this class may be sketching circles every single day, all day long, or for 15 minutes every day, all semester long. Some people may be drawing characters or houses or architectural stuff or whatever it is. Okay, so you figure out where your level is, and that's what you should be sketching at. All right, I'll go more into that in a minute. I also recommend a fidget cube, chewing gum, silly putty, something just to keep you actively engaged. It is very easy to be on that side of speaking and to basically just zone out, just start thinking about ice cream trucks and whatever else. But have something that keeps your brain active, that keeps you kind of moving around. I don't play the drums, but I like the drumstick because it's a big stick that I can just do that too. It's okay. So I carry this in my car, and that's what I do in the car. External hard drive, 250 gigs or more. This class we're going to use quite a bit of space, so 250 is about a good size. You could get by with probably a 32 gig card that you constantly are updating, going back and forth. But if you have the means and you have 250 gigs, then get that. It makes it easier, especially because you can work right off these versus the thumb drives. You can't really work off those very easily. Pair of headphones. Just real quick. I found an external hard drive, 6 terabytes for $130. So they're like super cheap now. Pair of headphones. All my lectures are recorded, so in order for you to hear what I'm saying in the lectures, you need headphones. We lost our disgusting pink pair. I don't know what happened to them. So we are without headphones. Maybe I'll pick some more disgusting ones up at the dollar store. I don't know. But bring a pair of headphones. We have earbuds, too, if you want to try those out. Yeah. People do. I said they're disgusting animals, right? I recommend 4 to 6 or more outside hours per week to work on your stuff. So our assignment is this. It may take you an extra 2 hours. It may take you an extra 4. It may take you no time at all extra. But set aside those 4 to 6 hours. If you have it, great. You don't need it, great. But if you need it, it's there. Because what you don't want to do is you are 2 hours behind this week, and then 4 hours behind next week, and then 6 hours behind the week after, and it just gets more and more and more, okay? So set aside some time so you have that so that you can make sure you're staying on task with all the assignments. I recommend, not require, any After Effects or motion graphics book. How many people in here are in the motion design specialty? None. That's surprising. How many in here are in 3D? How many in here are illustration? in design and layout. What's the other one? Web, photo, video, collaborative. I think I remembered them all. Yeah. All right. None promotion though. Right. Crazy. You'll see how it all fits in. But anyway, any After Effects or motion graphics book, it's good to have just an actual physical book that you can kind of page through and just see some techniques. My philosophy on any kind of learning is to just throw as much stuff at you as possible, and a lot of stuff will just sink in. Okay, so over break, I started watching photography YouTube videos, and I would watch one, then another, and then I would go online and see different photography stuff, and I would try out stuff with the cameras because I want to learn more about photography because I haven't touched it in a long time. That's how you do it. Everything's not going to stick. You will capture probably 60% of everything you're seeing, but that 60% is definitely a lot more than what you had before, right? So I recommend books. They're great just to page through or watch YouTube videos all day long. Pluralsight account. Has anyone ever heard of Pluralsight before? A couple. All right. Pluralsight is an online learning resource. So this is not a substitution for the class, but what it is a supplemental for the class. Okay, so if you say, like at one point, we'll be getting into drawing stuff in Illustrator and bringing it into After Effects. Who has had Illustrator 2 years ago or more? Right. So if you haven't touched Illustrator in 2 years, you could go on here and find 185 classes, and I think there's probably 7,000 hours of Illustrator tutorials on here. And they're all pretty streamlined as to what is involved in each one. So here's fundamentals, here's brushes, here's typography. So it's really good after you graduate and you're like working at a job and you don't have time to come back to school and take other classes. This is typically what industry people do, is they'll watch stuff like this because it's all done in chunks. There's no way for me physically to be able to teach all these classes plus know all the new stuff in Maya and Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign and Cinema 4D and After Effects and whatever else. So I can go on here while I'm working on other stuff and just watch a quick video that just shows me here's all the new stuff. Okay? So I recommend it. Again, not required, but I recommend it. If you go to the bookstore, you can get a Pluralsight account for $100. If you go to their site, it's $400 for the year. Through a bookstore, it's $100 for the year. So it's a pretty decent discount. If you're graduating this semester and you don't want to get it, now, before you graduate, I would recommend getting that. That way you have it for that year after, while you're building your portfolio or tweaking things or looking for new assignments or looking for different stuff to do, you can go after that. Even in this class, we're going to touch on a lot of After Effects things. There's an After Effects 2 class called Compositing and 2D Animatics. There's also an Advanced After Effects. They're not going to touch on every single thing that is in After Effects or every single thing in Illustrator was taught in the Illustrator class. It just can't happen. So you have to go out there and find other resources. Now, YouTube has other stuff too. You can go on YouTube and watch After Effects tutorials or Illustrator tutorials or Photoshop or any of those. But the problem is you're going to look through a bunch of junk and then find one good video, and then a bunch of junk and then find one good video. So Pluralsight, for the most part, is the opposite. You're going to look through a bunch of good videos and there's one that's junky. A bunch of videos and one that's junky. We'll be using Photoshop, Illustrator, and After Effects in this class. I will show other stuff too, just so you can see how they're kind of incorporated. Going back to those dots where everything's kind of connected somehow, After Effects is basically like where things come together at the end. Okay, so typically your stuff from Photoshop can come into After Effects and you can animate it. If you did the photo collage or movie poster assignment in Photoshop class, and then you're like, cool, now I want to see that thing kind of come together, you can animate all those pieces kind of building themselves. That way, if you're trying to show it off in your portfolio, it's not just, here's my flattened image and they can't see what you've done. They can see, here's all the different stuff that went into creating that image. Okay? Same thing with Illustrator, same thing with 3D. It's limitless. You can obtain a trial version of any of the above softwares at Adobe CC. You can also get the Adobe Creative Cloud for $20 a month, which is a huge discount. Back in my day, it was $600 if you wanted the student software. It was like not everything, but everything enough. and it only lasted as, you get one version of it. $20 a month, whatever new stuff comes out for it, you get it. And they have so much more cool stuff now than they did before. Course description. We're going to work with Illustrator and Photoshop to build artwork to be animated within After Effects. Most of the stuff will be done straight in After Effects. There's minimal Illustrator work required for this class, or Photoshop work required for the class. If you want to do extra stuff, that's where you'll start to see some of those Illustrator and Photoshop things becoming more and more in there. You'll learn about animation principles, methods, and workflows for building animated pieces. Who in here has had any kind of animation on the computer before? Okay, so good, like half of you. Good. If you've never touched animation, it can be tricky because looking at, I want this ball to bounce, and it's not bouncing, it's just staying there, like, get it to move. It's tricky sometimes. Number one, be able to navigate the After Effects interface, create assets for use in motion design, be able to manipulate keyframes, edit expressions, time animations to sync with visual and auditory elements, be able to use appropriate file formats and compressors. Cool. That's the boring stuff. Assignment breakdown. So in this class, we have a lot of assignments, and they go pretty quickly. Some of these are 1 week assignments. Some of these are 2 week assignments. Some of these are 3 weeks with the planning, and obviously they could take longer if you need more time on those. We will have a hotkey test. We will have a definitions test. We'll be doing titles, page transitions, text animations. None of these mean anything to you yet. Eventually they will. We will have a demo reel, and this is going to be something we'll be working on starting at day one. Day one, we're going to, or not day one because this is day one, day two, we'll start working on our demo reel, building pieces for this, okay? And it's, by the time we get to the actual turning this in, it should be super simple because everything is already done. It's just polishing it and then submitting it. That should be all we have to do. Final exam, we'll have that in here too. And then total points, 90. Okay, so I do all of my grading by point system. So day one, which is today, everyone has 0 points. If you turn in your hotkey test, you get 5 points. At the end, if you wanted a solid A, you'd have to accumulate 100 points. Okay, that's simple as it gets. If you don't do the 3D unfold, you don't get the 8 points. There's no percentages, there's no averages, it's straight up, there's the points. All of these add up to 90. Okay, so like I said before, I kind of C-averaged everything, right? So it's simplified. Now this 90 is not a C, this 90 is actually a B+, but if you took out the daily, weekly drawing, then you're back to a C, okay? This here, the drawing, the daily, weekly drawing stuff, 10 points, that's like the easiest 10 points in the world. Literally 15 minutes of drawing whatever. I had the guy, 2 guys last semester, every day they drew the exact same thing. I'm fine with that. If that's what you want to do, I'm fine with that. 15 minutes though, that's what they did. 15 minutes, same thing every single day. Easy 10 points. All right, now if you want the additional 10 points, if you want to get an A in the class, then you have to do what's called going beyond. It can be tricky because, again, I do things a bit different because I want you to be prepared for when you go out there. I can give everyone in this class an A right now. That doesn't help you get a job. Getting the skills, getting the pieces, that's what's going to get you the job, okay? And then going beyond, that's what's going to push you to learn that stuff. After Effects is huge. Some people are going to migrate towards one part of After Effects. Some people will migrate towards other. Even people of the same job title may focus more on one area than another area, okay? So that's what the going beyond is, really exploring the tools more and understanding them more. I deduct points for excessive texting during class. Obviously, a text here or there is no big issue, but if you're constantly on your phone, if you're constantly not doing what you need to do, I can subtract points. If you do it during a lecture, like excessive, obviously that's more points. Attendance, subtracting points, and then other stuff, subtracting points, okay? Keys to success. Show up to class on time, ready to work, pay attention, take notes, ensure you understand what's required, work during class, do homework, meet deadlines, ask questions, and push your skills. So the biggest one in here, not that there's a big one, they're all kind of equal. Hold on, am I still recording? Okay. is understanding what's required. A lot of times I get head nods, right? Do you understand this? Yep, I understand it. And then you go and you do your thing. You spend 2 weeks on it. You turn it in, and it's like, that's not what I was required at all. I did not want playing cards. I wanted Angry Bird, right? So you've just wasted 2 weeks doing playing cards, even though it may be a cool animation, not what the assignment was. So make sure that you understand what's required so that you turn in what's required. And then if you want to do playing cards on your own, that's perfectly fine. You want to do that separate, that's perfectly fine too. Keys to failure: missing classes or constantly being late, socializing during class, make up excuses why your work isn't done, guessing what's required, not taking notes, turning in work as you feel like it. Okay? It's very easy in any class to get behind, so just make sure you're staying on task with all the stuff. Oopsie. All right, and we've made it through the first one, the first packet. Sweet. Let's take a 5-minute break, walk around, stretch your legs, get something to drink, come back. Render wrangler is basically somebody who, like, I'm a modeler, animator, renderer. I render stuff out on the computer, and then I go home for the night. The render wrangler watches and makes sure that it doesn't quit. And then they make sure that the files coming out are appropriately, like, this is what you should be coming out. If there's a problem with that, they can call the person and say, hey, your rendering stopped, fix it, and then they fix it. That's all the job is. It's like super simple job. $35,000 a year into a place like Dassault. For 5 years, that job was posted and nobody ever applied for it. One guy went through LinkedIn from here, and he just connected to someone that worked at the place and their HR person, and then somehow got an interview, and then somehow got into the place because he looked for it and he actually applied for it and talked the talk and got in. That's how you get the places. And they said the job was unfilled for years because nobody would apply for it. $35,000. And the cool thing is, their company, like Quicken, is they have everything in house. So they do technology stuff. They do photo, video, 3D programming, compositing, everything. It's like amazing. But then they're also worldwide. So they would send people to Germany. They'd send people to Los Angeles. It's pretty awesome, right? So don't be afraid to apply for jobs, but don't blanket apply for any job. Just as an example, material specialist contractor, I would not hit the apply button and just say go and then I'm done. Set yourself apart. Don't apply to 1,000 places with the same stuff, hoping that one of them will catch. It won't. Okay? Go into each one of these with customized stuff. I'm applying for this graphic design job. Here's the stuff that company does. Here's how I would be a good fit for that company. If you customize it, it works out a lot better than I'm interested in some sort of job where I get to do art. That makes no sense at all. They don't want to hire people for that. Right? So get on LinkedIn so you can do that kind of stuff. Here are some ways to improve your work skills. So these are things that you can do without any special skills or with any special tools or build up. You can just do it. Be punctual, be prepared, be accountable, work hard, be committed, have a great attitude, pay attention, and be helpful. All of these things are ways that will help your work become better. And improving your learning skills. You can read through all of this stuff. I'm just kind of obviously just skipping through some of it. Learning style. Everyone has a different way that they learn stuff. It's based on your own background and your own personality. There's no way that I can go up here and teach the same thing 15 different ways for everyone to get it. I teach pretty much one way, which is get up here and talk and show you the stuff. I give examples. I record the stuff so you can rewatch it over and over again if you need to. But some people work better if they just get their hands on it and start playing around. That's really the way that I do it. I'll go through Pluralsight and I'll throw up, let's say this video is 4 hours long. I'll put the video on just in the background and just kind of keep an eye on it. After 4 hours, I'll say, okay, what things stood out, and I'll go to play with those. I'll have trouble. I'll jump back to the video, find those spots, and then work through those areas. That's how I learn, okay? Some people work better by just watching someone do it and then clicking, and then watching someone do it and clicking, okay? It's all in how you learn. You have to kind of hack your learning style, okay? My dad took a sign language class years ago for whatever reason, just for fun, and as a kid, I'm like, that's cool. You can like talk and people don't know what you're saying. So I wanted to learn some sign language. So what I would do is I would have my sign language book and I would listen to the radio and I would learn how to sign based on what the lyrics were. And that way I have something that I can go by this is how the song is, and then I could sign stuff. And so I learned how to do some sign language based off of that. Okay? Sitting there and reading a book, and then this is what this one is. You can get a dictionary of every single sign that's in the American Sign Language. It doesn't help. Having something to apply it to does help. Okay? So figure out what your learning style is. And if any of these, if you're looking for more information on it besides that little thing, obviously you can talk to me. But YouTube has a million resources on figuring out your learning style. A million resources on how to get more sleep. It's amazing. Getting enough sleep obviously is an important one. Like some people don't know that like typically people like you're awake for this long and then you sleep for this long and then you're awake for that long and then you sleep for that long, right? That's like your typical day. It's like you're sleeping for half of it and you're awake for half of it. Some people it works out better if they are awake for 3 hours, then they take a half-hour nap. Then they're awake for 3 hours and take a half-hour nap. And they rework their body so that it works for them. I think Albert Einstein was one, and I think P. Diddy was one. But there's a lot of people, if you look at it, there's a lot of different ways you can find a good way to get your sleep in. Eating a healthy diet. I mean, this is should be a no-brainer, but there's lots of times, especially when I would walk by that table, and I would see people with just like Starbursts and Skittles and all this candy and sugar and stuff. It's like, that's not going to sustain. Like I have my Mountain Dew. That's my sugar for now, but it doesn't sustain. It's short energy, if anything. I'm really immune to it. I can drink that right before bed and fall right asleep. But you have to have a good, healthy diet, because if you don't, you're going to act sluggish and you're going to feel sluggish. Your brain isn't going to want to function. So you have to have some healthy foods into your diet, okay? Exercising. Simple stuff, walking, speed walking, 30 minutes before class, 15 minutes before class. It gets your heart rate up, gets your blood up, gets more blood to your brain, more oxygen to your brain. You're easier time learning. It's simple stuff. And if you haven't, like, there is other buildings attached to this one. So you can literally walk like a good circle a couple times around here before class. Meditating. This is another good thing to do. Practicing an instrument or foreign language. If you don't have time for an instrument, take up a foreign language. On your drive here, you can listen to an audiobook in the car that's like how to speak whatever, Mandarin Chinese, and you can learn Mandarin Chinese on your way. I live about 40 minutes from here. There's a series called Pimsleur. They're about half-hour lessons. So half hour here is one lesson, half hour back there's another lesson. So it's a great way to do that. Now some of the companies like Dassault, because they are a worldwide company, they have jobs in other areas. So if you knew German and they need to send someone to Germany, well, that would be a good in for you. Or Macavision sends people to Japan several times a year, like specific people in their group. Again, something that would help out. Drawing or doodling. I said we'll get into that in a second. Keeping an open mind. So the biggest wall in your education is not being open to new ideas. So if you think all this stuff on here is crap, then it's not going to work for you, right? If you think that getting enough sleep and figuring out or exercising before here is crap, you can exercise all day long. It's not going to help you out. You can get enough sleep all night long, and it still won't help you. You have to keep an open mind, because there's a lot of stuff that we don't know. There's a lot of information out there and a lot of different things that that change how we behave, and so you gotta keep open to that. Cool. I think that was that. All right, so we got the attendance policy. You can check that out too. Anything more than 4 absences can result in a failing grade. You can read all that. Equipment loan agreement. There's no equipment in this class that we loan out. It's just the computers and us. So make sure you're not eating in class. Make sure you're not unplugging anything. Make sure you're keeping the station and area nice and clean and organized. If you move your keyboard, put it back before you leave. Push your chair in. I also recommend rebooting the computers or shutting the computers down before you leave. That way when someone else comes in, they don't start working on your stuff on accident, which happens all the time. If you have an assignment that's late, you'll fill out a late submission form. Something's due Wednesday, you turn it in Monday, the next Monday. You'll fill this out. Basically, what's the assignment, why is it late, and how are you going to make sure it's not late again. And then if you're resubmitting an assignment, similar thing. What's the assignment, what were the problems, and then how did you fix them, okay? all this does is help you kind of put down into actual words what the stuff was wrong. It's not just, well, it's late, I'll just turn it in. Well, why was it late? Figure that out so that next time you don't make the same mistake. It was late because I didn't realize how hard the assignment was, and I waited until Tuesday night to start the assignment, okay? So that way you'll know when to not do stuff. All right. So I think that's it for that packet. Yes. Whew. It's a long one. All right. Now I also passed out a calendar. So in your sketching, we're not going to start. You don't have to start sketching today, but tomorrow you should have a sketchbook. If you don't want to buy a sketchbook, you can grab one of these. These are just scrap pieces of paper. They don't scan well. They're just we used to use them for flip books, so you can grab those one of those if you want. Too much stuff over here. So Tuesday you'll sketch for 15 minutes. Wednesday you'll sketch for 15 minutes. Thursday 15 minutes. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every single day sketching for 15 minutes for the next 10 weeks. Okay. On Saturday there is a word. One sec. On Saturday there's a word. You can base your sketching that day off of that word. Yes, ma'am.
But we don't have to, right?
You do not have to, correct. Okay, so this is just a suggestion. Some people have found online a prompt list, and it's great to just go by some sort of prompt list. That way you're not starting off with nothing. Some people kind of know, like last semester someone would say, well, I have a hard time drawing hands. So they would spend a whole week or 2 weeks drawing hands to get better at drawing hands. I'm not good at drawing feet. I'm not good at drawing characters in proportion. I'm not good at drawing men versus females, whatever it is, okay? I'm not good at drawing circles. Fine, draw circles, right? So all I want to do is make sure you're sketching for 15 minutes. I don't care what the topic is. The way that I do it, as I walk over there, you say day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and then I check it off. That's it. Yes, ma'am.
Bigger projects,
Adding on top of another one. Yep,
Yeah.
as long as it looks like 15 minutes per day.
okay.
Right.
So we can do like 30 minutes in one paper?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So Ashton, his drawings that are in the showcase there, the Inktober ones, I don't know if you guys saw those. Originally, he would do 3 days worth of drawings in one drawing, and he would just write the dates next to them. Okay, that way I could see this is 3 days worth of work. If you come to me, I'll use a marker here so you can see it, and you say, there you go, that's 3 days worth of work. It's obviously not even 1 day's worth of work, right? So just make sure that it looks like 15 minutes. And if you're, some people will pencil, they're outlining their pencil stuff and whatever. If you want to take progressive snapshots of it too, because you're worried, fine. But as long as it looks like it's at least 15 minutes, you're good. Don't worry about a researching it for 14 minutes and then drawing for 1 minute. If you're going to get a prompt list, find a prompt list and just do the prompt list. Set a timer, 15 minutes, and you sketch. Timer's over, done. That's it, okay? If you want to sketch more, great, sketch more. Now, we're only doing this for 10 weeks. So by March 17th, that's our last sketching prompt day. On the 19th, I'm checking the stuff, and then we're done. You don't have to sketch anymore for the class. You already have the points, okay? On 15th, we do not have class because of Martin Luther King Day. So the first day I'm going to be checking these is the 17th. So on the 17th, you should have sketches for the 9th, 10th, 11th, ... and 16th. Okay? Some of you will have 17th. That's no big deal. I don't look at it every single day and say you must have all the way to 17. As long as you have about that many drawings, I'm happy with that. Okay? Any questions on the sketches? They're easy points, like super easy points. And still some people don't do them. I don't know why. All right, so now what did you get yourself into, right? So let me go and try to find stuff. Grade. Oops. I'm just going to go to my demo reel folder. Nope. Organize. Demo, there it is. All right. I'm still organizing my folder. So ours is going to be a bit different. I always try to change things each semester so that, it keeps things a bit fresh. So this is going to be our first assignment, which is going to be a title. Okay, so for each one of our assignments, we'll have a title so that when you show assignment 1, here's assignment 1's title, and then we see assignment 1. Here's assignment 2's title, here's the assignment 2. Okay, so there's Evan's assignment 1. Okay, now what you saw there a second ago, watch from here, that there. Those are page transitions. And if you go on YouTube, you can actually search for it, page transitions, After Effects, and you'll see a million different ways to transition. The idea there is that we're just trying to figure out how do we go from one piece of art to another piece of art and not make it look stupid. That's the biggest thing. So there's a bunch of different ways here that he's going from one piece of art to another piece of art, and again, not making it look stupid. All right, so there's a second one. We'll be doing some title or some stuff here. We change it every semester, like I said, so these will be different. This is 2.5D is what this assignment is. So it looks like it's 3D. It's like unfolding, but it's not. It just like looks like it. So After Effects says 2.5D. But now the artwork for this is all stuff that Evan created. He put the trees in the background and the monster. And this is the character card. Okay, so this one is an animated short about M dashes, N dashes, and hyphens. So you have to visually get that idea across about what is the difference between each one and where each one is appropriate.
The M dash is the longest, followed by the N dash, with the hyphen being the shortest.
And so by the time we get to an assignment like this, we pretty much we've gone through like most of these steps and tools. It's simply a matter of applying them in different fashion and applying them so that from one to the next, they all make sense in how you tell that story. And if you've been on YouTube, I'm sure you've seen these kinds of things before or watched the Science Channel. It's like all over the place. Skip that. I think this is the tracking one. So here we're taking a video clip and then we're adding on top of it graphics. And again, this is something that if you're in like web or interactive, you may have like a VR headset or something and you're looking around the world. We would never do the programming for that kind of stuff, but we would do the what it would look like. So in this case, he's showing that's what I want it to look like. They would give it to a programmer, and the programmer would have to figure out how all that stuff works, and we would just provide the artwork for it. Okay? So in this case, he's showing it like this. You could, if you had like a website or something, you could show the interactivity, being able to click on things and whatever else. Have a whole interface, HUD on top of that. So that was Evan's everyone tries to customize things. So that one again is the Angry Bird assignment. It's all in how you want the semester to go, how you want your work to look. At any point, you can tweak things, redo things. The first assignment I said is going to be this little title page. It's not going to be as complex as this one because I'm putting it first this time before it was second or third. So you can always come back and redo something like that so it looks fancier. All right, now what we're doing here too is that we're also getting this ready for the next levels of After Effects. Compositing and 2D animatics, the class focuses a lot on character animation stuff. So in the Angry Bird, we're dealing with just the sphere, eyes, beak, maybe some sort of hair or whatever. In there, they deal with the entire character. So how do we move arms and fingers and create facial shapes and everything else? That's what they're doing in that class. The Advanced After Effects, they're doing more of just random After Effects things, working with Photoshop, Illustrator, even 3D together. This is one of the projects from Advanced After Effects. Let me see if Billy has it on his. He was one of the guys who did it.